My name is Pooja Dissanayake, and this is Module 5 Sustainability in Our Lives. What is development? The term development has multiple meanings depending on context, but in this module, we focus on development in terms of human well being, economic progress, and social equality. Traditionally, development has been understood as the process which, through countries transition from lower levels of income and industrialization to higher levels of prosperity, often measured by metrics such as gross domestic product, GDP, industrial output, and standard of living. However, over time, the idea of development has evolved beyond a simple focus on economic growth. Sustainable development now includes not only economic factors, but also social and environmental considerations. The Sustainable Development Goals is something we also focus in Module 5. The SDGs were adopted in 2015, built on the MDGs, but took a broader, more inclusive approach. The SDGs include 17 goals and 169 targets that address issues like climate change, gender equality, economic growth, and peace. We saw how broad these goals were because each and every one of us were able to tie it back to our capstone projects. A key idea of the SDGs is to ensure that no one is left behind, meaning everyone everywhere should benefit from sustainable development. Unlike the MDGs, the SDGs emphasize environmental sustainability and global partnerships and calling for action from all countries, from both developed and developing. The Millennial Development Goals, MDGs, were introduced in 2000 and focused primarily on poverty reduction, education, health, and gender equality, with targets to be reached by 2015. The MDGs were successful in many areas but were criticized for not addressing key issues like environmental sustainability and equality in a comprehensive way. Also, their focus was mainly on developing countries without engaging richer nations in global challenges. The difference between the MDGs and the SDGs is that the MDG primarily focus on social development and poverty alleviation in developing countries. The SDGs are broader, covering issues such as climate change, gender equality, peace, justice, and responsible consumption. The MDGs also were aimed mostly at the global south, and the SDGs were universal and could be applied to all countries. Some ways that I'm sustainable in my day-to-day life is by recycling, carpooling, water conservation, unplugging electronics, supporting local organic farmers, and educating peers. The process of recycling typically uses less energy than producing new materials from raw sources. Carpooling is sustainable because it helps reduce greenhouse gas emissions, conserves energy, reduces traffic congestion, improves air quality, and lowers overall transportation costs. Water conservation reduces water waste, saves energy, lowers your utility bills, and promotes sustainable habits. By making this simple change, I am actively contributing to more responsible water usage. Shopping at a farmer's market is sustainable because it supports local farmers and economies, reduces carbon emission by cutting down on food miles, promotes eco-friendly farming practices, reduces packaging waste, and encourages healthier, more sustainable eating habits. These are some unsustainable practices in my life: fast fashion, driving gasoline cars, frequent air travel, and food waste. Fast fashion is unsustainable because it creates waste, uses too much water and energy, pollutes the environment, encourages overconsumption, and exploits workers. Frequent air travel is unsustainable because it produces high levels of carbon emissions, pollutes the atmosphere, and uses a lot of energy and non-renewable resources. Food waste is unsustainable because it wastes water, energy, and land. To avoid these sustainable practices like fast fashion, frequent air travel, and food waste, I need to make conscious changes in both individual behavior and systemic practices. To reduce fast fashion, I can support sustainable brands, Choose clothing brands that use eco-friendly materials, pay fair wages, and follow ethical production practices. To reduce air travel, I will try my best to choose direct flights. Takeoff and landings consume most of the fuel, so avoiding layovers helps reduce my overall carbon footprint. To reduce food waste, I can planning my meals ahead of time and buying the food I only need. This reduces the chance of buying too much and wasting it. As individuals, we need to make more mindful choices about what we buy, how we travel, and how we consume food. As a society, we need to have more ethical production, sustainable energy policies, and responsible consumption. Together, we must reduce waste, protect our resources, and push for long-term solutions to reduce our environmental impact. Every small action counts, and together these efforts can drive significant change towards a more sustainable future.